the Friday edition of Mr. Relevant, presented by Door County Distillery. I'm Alex Strouf with you from the Gruber Law Offices, one call That's All Studios at the Avenue in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. Producer Tiny Hands Hunter Vaughn is back at the Everlight Solar Studio in downtown Madison. Josh DiMaggio with me here in Milwaukee as well. This is the last episode of Mr. Irrelevant in 2024 that we will not have Packers football to react to. That's awesome. We got a Packers football game tomorrow. It's preseason. I know. It's preseason. It's not real football, kind of, technically. But it's football, right? We'll have something to react to. We'll have the preseason sweetheart and darling to react to. We'll have some Jordan Love snaps to react to. I don't know who we'll all see. I would guess we'll see more starters offensively than we do defensively, but maybe we see everybody for a couple series tomorrow against the Cleveland Browns. So really excited to get into this and get into the weeds a little bit on preseason and expectations and what's going to happen over the next 4 weeks as we lead up to the regular season opener on September 6th in Brazil against the Philadelphia Eagles for the Packers. But this is exciting, man. We made it. Whew! We made it. We got through. So a little bit of preview today. We'll talk expectations for Love. We'll talk expectations for some of the starters. Mark Tauscher, the Packers Hall of Famer, will join us in about 15 or so minutes to talk a little bit about the offensive line, talk a little bit about Love expectations and all the in-betweens on all things Packers. Might toss in a Badgers question or two for Mark Tauscher, who will join us at 12:45 here this afternoon. I'm fired up, though. Hunter called me a sicko in our pre-show meeting because last night I went to my local tavern where I think I officially qualify as a regular. And I watched the entire game between the New England Patriots and the Carolina Panthers, rather. It was Giants-Lions. Panthers-Patriots last night. No Bryce Young, but we saw 3 passes from Drake May. Went 2 for 3 for 19 yards. I know his stat line off the top of my head. Saw a little bit out of Joe Milton, the former Tennessee quarterback. Jacoby Brissett started for the Patriots. I watched every snap of that game. The hunger for football is so unbelievably real for me that I satisfied it yesterday a little bit by watching Panthers-Patriots preseason in New England. I don't know how strange. Do you think that's strange?
Yeah. Did you intentionally go to this bar just to watch the football game? Yeah.
Yes, I made them change the channel. Yes.
Okay, I'm standing by it. Like, dude, it's preseason of 2 teams you don't give a crap about. Like, if you stumble across it this time of year...
I give a crap about all 32 teams.
No, you don't. You know that you don't. Stop trying to die on this hill just to win this debate. Like, come on.
Hunter.
Know that you don't. You don't. Don't lie to me.
Hold on. Let me ask you a question. I would guess I am one of the biggest NFL fans you know, correct?
Yes. You're much more of an NFL guy than you are an NBA guy.
That's a poll right there. So for those of you that don't understand that reference, I don't know, what was that, 6 months ago maybe?
Oh, it might have even been
It was around
more.
the All-Star break. No, I think it was right around the All-Star break. So about 6 months ago, I watched the All-Star game and a bunch of the All-Star weekend festivities, and I came back that Monday on Mr. Irrelevant, and I said, hey, I'm an NBA guy, man. I'm all in on the NBA now. And it really pissed Hunter off because I'm probably more of an NBA fraud than I am an NBA guy. But that's a poll by you. That's a 6-month poll just sitting in the holster there. So well done by you. So I am a much bigger NFL guy than I am anything guy, right? Like, I love the NFL. Obviously it rules all. I grew up in Green Bay. I'm a huge Packers fan. But I love all 32 teams, right? Like, if I have a free moment on a Sunday, like week 1, for example, Thursday, the Packers play Friday. So week 1 Sunday, I'm free. I don't have Green Bay Game Day, which is the pregame show we host on ESPN Wisconsin, ESPN Milwaukee, ESPN Madison, ESPN Beaver Dam, and 620 WTMJ. 3 hours before every Packers game, I'm going into year 2. Frankly, it's the coolest thing I've gotten to do in my career is do the pregame show on all those stations, a legendary station like 620 WTMJ, and then all of our awesome ESPN Wisconsin affiliates that I get the opportunity to do some work on every day. But it's a really neat opportunity to be right outside Lambeau Field for the home games and talk ball for 3.5 hours before every game. So when I have a Sunday free, which is rare during the football season, because usually I'm tied up with that, I will watch every other game, whether it's Red Zone and then, then the Sunday night football game and then Monday night. I like if there's a preseason game on, I'm going to watch it from this point forward, especially if there's like rookies playing that I'm intrigued by, especially quarterbacks. And in this case, Drake May, who was the number 3 overall pick. Like I was intrigued to see what he looked like. He didn't play a whole lot, but I wanted to see him. I wanted to see Joe Milton because I remember him from Tennessee, and I know he's got like just a laser arm. So I was excited to see him, and he threw like a 54-yard touchdown pass last night. So anyway, yeah, I do care. I don't think it's fair for you to say I don't care,
but. See, you started bringing in the regular season. Like, if there's regular season football on, I'm watching it. Thursday night, Monday night, when they had the random COVID Wednesday Ravens game, I was watching it. I was locked in.
Yeah.
Like, the regular season NFL is very different than preseason NFL. Preseason NFL, like, no. Like, I don't care. I'm barely going to watch the Cowboys, and I love that team because I just, like, I just can't care. I think the only preseason game that I really locked in on was when they had, was it Will Grier? And they were trying to like give him a chance to audition for the rest of the NFL. So the Cowboys let him play the whole game. And we're just like, we're just going to run an air raid and let you sling it around and see if you can get a roster spot because we know you're not sticking around. Other than that, I was like, I don't really care about this. Like, there's just nothing that is going to tell me about my team. I don't care about the preseason. It's
the groundhog, Joshy DiMaggio, has arrived. The head has popped up here at the Gruber offices. One call, that's all studios. Joshy?
There's so much to learn from the preseason. If you're a fantasy football guy, you can get looks at guys that you might be drafting late in, your underdog best ball drafts. I was looking out there to see, how does Drake May look, Javon Baker, Jalen Polk, all guys that may be relevant later to me in the season.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that even you, as a diehard Cowboys fan, would be like, yeah, I'm not that interested. There's guys that are going to have to matter. Like, you don't want them to matter, but they're going to matter throughout the season.
Yeah, and I feel like because I read enough of the articles around the team, I watch their practices because they will live stream those and I'll put that video on. Like, I see enough from these guys that I'm just like, okay, I'll watch it, but I'm not like going out of my way, going somewhere specifically to watch a preseason game. Like, I feel like that's a different level to it.
See, the thing is, he's at this bar a lot for other reasons other than just really enjoying the bar. It is crazy to go out for preseason, especially if it's not your team.
By myself, my dad.
Yeah.
Ben Brust made a quick appearance, and he joined me to watch a little bit of Panthers Patriots. He sat down. And he goes, "All right, what I miss? I go, not much. It's 10-0, But yeah, anyway. All right. Well, you guys don't love the game enough. That's frankly what I'm getting down to. You guys don't love the game enough. Week 1 preseason. I was getting down, having a few Door County drinks and enjoying myself. All right, a couple things to get into before we get to Tauschi. First off, we talked a little bit about this on Wednesday, but want to get into it a little bit deeper here. And that is Jordan Love will play on Saturday, tomorrow, against the Cleveland Browns. I'm good with it. I'm good with Love playing. But when it comes to what I want to see out of Love this preseason, it's pretty darn simple. I want to see him play tomorrow. That's it. He's got 2 joint practices coming up, one against the Broncos next week and the following week in Green Bay against the Baltimore Ravens. That is preseason game number 3. I don't want to see Jordan Love outside of tomorrow's preseason game. When it comes to risk reward, obviously it doesn't really exist, right? The risk is much higher than the reward. I want to see him get a few reps against the Browns tomorrow, and then you have joint practices, and those have been way more valued. We'll ask Tauschi about joint practices here because those really weren't a thing when he played his final year in 2010 when the Packers won the Super Bowl. They've just exploded over the course of the last few years, and those are ramped up real like scrimmages, and you're playing starters versus starters, right? Like, in terms of tomorrow, the Browns, who had the best defense in the league, or one of the best defenses in the league a year ago, they're playing a bunch of their starters. According to the tweet from Brandon Little, Kevin Stefanski, the head coach of the Browns, saying they will start a, quote, bunch, end quote, of their starters against the Packers on Saturday. Don't expect them to play but a series, and he didn't say which ones. That's according to Brandon Little and from Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski. So we will see some of their defensive starters. Does that mean we see Myles Garrett? Does that mean we see some of those other guys defensively? We'll see. I hope so. right? Like I want Jordan Love playing good competition, but not for more than maybe 2 or 3 series, the entire preseason. And then from there, let the quarterback 2 battle play out. Like there's a real battle brewing between Sean Clifford and Michael Pratt of who will back up Jordan Love. I'm more interested in that than seeing a guy that has legitimate MVP aspirations in 2024 in the preseason. You know, I want to see more of those battles. I want to see some of the battles on the offensive line. I want to see some of the battles at safety and linebacker. I'm not very interested in seeing Jordan Love outside of a little bit tomorrow. I'm excited to see him because that's your real indication of, yep, football's back. Football is here. Jordan Love's playing. You know, he's got the shoulder pads on. After tomorrow, though, I don't really want to see him against Denver or Baltimore in preseason games. Maybe I will. Maybe they'll play him for a series or 2 every preseason game. But again, it goes back to risk-reward. Like, the reward is not nearly as high as the risk to play your $55 million quarterback in a meaningless game. So that's where I'm at on that. When it comes to the other starters, we had a couple issues with injuries at the wide receiver position this week. Jaden Reed returned to practice yesterday. Christian Watson on the last play of practice, I believe that was Wednesday. Because we talked about it on the show. It was happening while we were live on Irrelevant. He went down at the end of practice with, he said it was just a bruise. I don't know if he knocked knees or what happened with rookie safety Evan Williams, but he's good. But again, like, if you're getting a bruise and you're not feeling 100%, why even risk it? So I'd be okay not seeing Christian Watson and Jaden Reed tomorrow. Trot out Dobbs and get Wick some reps so you don't have to trade him like Josh DiMaggio said they might want to consider if they're not going to use him properly earlier this week. So let's see Dobbs, let's see Wicks, let's see Bo Melton, let's see Grant Dubose, and, for a couple series with Love. And then we go to Pratt and we go to Clifford, and we're seeing some of those other guys, right? The Samori Toures of the world later in the game. So that's what I'm interested in tomorrow. I'm not interested in the score. The Brands are favored by 5.5 points. I don't know how Vegas dictates lines for the preseason. I'm curious to know the science that goes into that, because regular seasons, you can understand the math a little bit. How do you decide the Brands are 5.5 point favorites? Like if I'm over at Pato Sportsbook, I'm taking the Packers plus 5.5 just because they lose by a field goal. The other thing that's interesting to me tomorrow is the kicking battle and how they split up the reps, right? Like, how do you dictate who takes this field goal or who's taking this extra point? It's the least manageable and hardest to evaluate position in all of football. Because if you look at long snappers, you're long snapping no matter if you're on the 30-yard line on one side of the field or the 19-yard line on the other side of the field. When it comes to the holder or the punter, right? Like, at least you know what you're evaluating. When it comes to kickers, I don't know how you split up reps in the preseason unless you give each of them one game in full. But even then, it's still not a perfect science of how because one game your offense might stall more. That's the one I'm concerned about tomorrow, but we'll keep an eye on that. Go ahead, Hunter.
Going back to the line, it originally was at 3 for the Browns. So it's moved in Cleveland's favor as they've said that they're going to have more starters. So I think that tells you what Vegas thinks of the Browns compared to the Packers. So there's that too.
Oh, I mean, in the preseason, that's what they think of them, yeah. But, I mean, does it really matter? No, it doesn't.
Well, but you just said that, like, the preseason's entertaining. It matters. You should pay attention to it.
I don't know that I ever once used the word entertaining.
Is moving the line.
Hold on. You're putting words in my mouth. I don't think I once used the word entertaining. It's entertainment.
I was paraphrasing the energy behind what you were saying, okay? That wasn't a direct quote. I'm sorry.
Well, you said, okay, well, I mean, that's what you said. So, yeah, no, it's entertaining from a perspective of, hey, I'm excited to watch the Packers. It's entertaining in terms of, hey, I'm excited to see Jordan Love play a few series. iRock on the ESPN Madison YouTube chat says, I can understand your feelings. I want my quarterback to have a few reps against the defense before the start of the season. And that's why I emphasize the joint practices, because I view those as reps. I view those as a preseason game in a controlled environment, against the Broncos and the Ravens. He's not going to get hit too hard. He's going to have the opportunity to see his receivers and his O-line go full speed. Like I against the opposite team's top defenders. I'm still a little scarred from 2015 when Jordy Nelson went down at Pittsburgh, with the ACL tear in the preseason. So that's why I don't want to see Love play too much. I just don't. The risk and reward isn't there for me. But we'll get Tauscher's thoughts on that coming up next. But first, got to tell you about our great friends at Door County Distillery. Locally produced, handcrafted, and award-winning spirits made locally in beautiful Door County. You heading up there this weekend? You got to pop in Carlsville. Do the tours, do the tastings. If you're not, bring Door County to you. Whether it's that classic green bottle of gin, that beautiful blue bottle of vodka, the cherry brandy, the apple brandy. Fall's coming up. That apple brandy is versatile. If you're a whiskey person like myself, the single malt whiskey, the bourbon, the rye whiskey, all the in-betweens, it is delicious. It is the best. DoorCountyDistillery.com is the website. Find the retailer nearest you. Stock up for the party. You partying tomorrow for that game? Do it with Door County Distillery. DoorCountyDistillery.com. We step aside for 60 seconds. When we return, the Packers Hall of Famer Mark Tauscher joins us to talk all things green and gold ahead of preseason opener tomorrow against the Browns. We do that in 60 seconds. It's Mr. Irrelevant. I'm Alex Strouf. Back in Carlsville at the legendary Door County Distillery with my buddy Rob from Door County Distillery, and we have a Door County Distillery exclusive in front of us right now, Rob. Cherries, bourbon, two of my favorite things. Put them together. You got the Door County Distillery cherry bourbon. It's beautiful. We're just doing shots?
Yeah, we're just
Let's
going to try it straight up. I mean, it is good for mixed drinks. You can put it in old fashions, Manhattans, but sometimes you just want to straight up take a little shot of it.
I won't complain about that. Like I said, two of my favorite things. Cherries, bourbon, Door County cherries, bourbon. I can't complain. Yeah. Cheers to you, buddy. Thanks a lot.
Prost.
Ooh, that's tasty. Oh, that's good.
Yep.
That's really smooth.
Get that cherry flavor. Yep. Not a whole lot of burn. Beautiful.
That's terrific. Door County Distillery exclusive, the cherry bourbon. Check out their website with a huge list of unique cocktail recipes at DoorCountyDistillery.com. That's DoorCountyDistillery.com. Rolling on ahead of the preseason opener for the Green Bay Packers tomorrow in Cleveland against the Browns. Jordan Love will play. Some of the starters for the Packers will play. I'm intrigued to see how much Love plays this preseason. Like I said before, I'm hoping it's only a few series tomorrow. Let him get the joint practice work in against Denver and Baltimore in the next couple of weeks. And then I'm good. I don't think he needs to play in preseason game 2 or 3, but people that make a lot more money and are a lot smarter than me make those decisions. Joining us now is a Packers Hall of Famer and a Super Bowl champion. You hear him every weekday from 9 to noon on Wilde Tausch Mark Tauscher will join us momentarily. Don't have him quite yet. Hunter, you let me know when he's good. For Tauscher, he's going to join us.
Don't know why he's not answering my call.
I don't either, but we'll figure it out together. Look, when it comes to Jordan Love and the playing time, I'm curious on your thoughts. I know we threw a poll in the field on the Homer Hour last night. You can find that on Twitter at ESPN Milwaukee at the Homer Hour. It was about 50-50 on whether or not you wanted to see Love play in more than one preseason game. 57% of people said yes. 43% of people said no. And I struggle with it. I just don't want to see him get hurt. Maybe I'm too paranoid when it comes to that, but look, he's MVP good. The second half of what we saw from him in the second half of last season was MVP good. Theoretically, you rely on that's what you're going to see the first half of the season. The playbook's all the way open. The receivers have another year of experience under their belt and another offseason program and preseason program under their belt to understand the playbook. And I'm feeling good about where this offense is at. Now, the early indications from training camp is the offense has not looked super sharp. The defense has looked really sharp. But I think that's a good sign. Think about all the names defensively that the Packers have invested draft capital and money into. Jair Alexander, Xavier McKinney, Quay Walker, Devontae Wyatt, who hasn't had a great camp, but Kenny Clark, right? Like the list goes on and on and on. If the defense is cooking the offense, I don't think that's a negative indication of the offense. I think that's a positive indication of the Jeff Hafley defense. And that tells me the defense is headed in the right direction finally. It feels like it's been a decade and a half since we've looked at the Packers defense and gone, yeah, that's a good group. We have had high hopes. I remember the Mina Kimes clip from ESPN a few years ago that we played a million times. Her predicting that the Packers would have a top 3 defense. Clearly that was not the case. That was the 8-9 year where the Packers missed the playoffs in the final year of Aaron Rodgers. The defense just hasn't been very good. over the course of the last few years. So the hope is that, this is finally the year that the defense picks it up. And the early indications from training camp are that they have. So that's a positive. I don't view that as a negative indication on the offense as much as I do a positive, positive feelings for how well the defense is playing. So we will see. Efforting to get with Mark Tauscher. Curious on your thoughts. You can chime in on the ESPN Madison, ESPN Milwaukee YouTube channels, ESPN Madison on Facebook. If you're listening after the fact on the podcast feed, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, feel free to chime in ahead of the preseason opener Saturday against the Browns. Let me know how you're feeling. On Twitter, at Alex_Strouf is where you can get at me. Also on TikTok and Instagram, at StroufESPN. If you want to chime in on your expectations for the playing time in the preseason. The other thing for tomorrow, too, is the running back battle I've got my eyes on. I would guess we'll see Marshawn Lloyd, who's been dealing with a foot injury, but has been practicing the last week. He had fumbling issues his senior year at USC, and it seems like that's trickled a little bit into training camp. So curious to see, what will happen there with Marshawn Lloyd, but obviously A.J. Dillon. Like, they brought him back on $1 million deal, almost a vet minimum. How will they handle A.J. Dillon, and how will he handle, he's on a 1-year deal, like it's kind of a prove-it deal of sorts, listed as running back 2. He's got a lot to prove this preseason. And, he may be named number 1 with most to prove in the preseason because it will carve out what his role is to start the regular season. I think very quickly Marshawn Lloyd will become running back 2. But if A.J. Dillon is able to fend him off, good, right? That's positive. Wide receiver battle, I think you feel good about your top 4, as we've talked about all offseason. In no order, Watson, Dobbs, Reed, and Wicks. Does Bo Belton have a big preseason? Does Grant Dubose, who was on the practice squad last year, does he emerge and say, hey, man, like I'm actually pretty solid going into my second year? So I'm curious to see, if a name emerges at the wide receiver position. Defensively, the linebackers, both the rookies, Edrin Cooper and Tyron Hopper, they've got big opportunities this preseason. Who emerges as maybe one of the top linebackers this season? Curious there. Hunter, what is there a battle that intrigues you? Is it running backs?
Well, we
is it
can ask
quarterback
Tausch
2?
that.
Oh, we got Tausch now. Tauschi, welcome in. Mark Tauscher, the Packers Hall of Famer, weekdays 9 to noon on Wilde and Tausch. Tauschi, I'm talking love, and I really just want to see him play a few series tomorrow.
And or are you talking about your personal life? Let's hear more about that.
Well, we could talk about that. I'm in a very happy relationship, and things are great there. No, I'm talking Jordan Love, I guess, if you would like me to be more specific. I want to see him play 2 or 3 series tomorrow, and then I don't want to see him in preseason game 2 or 3. Because of the joint practices, I feel like he can get important reps there. The risk and reward just doesn't make sense to me to play him after tomorrow. Where are you at, and how much love you want to see in the preseason?
Well, why do you want to see him tomorrow then? If he's not going to, if you don't want to play him in week 2 and week 3?
No joint practice this week. Couple reps that are meaningful, and then the joint practices. I feel like it's more of a controlled environment. He's not going to get hit. At least we assume a whole lot in the joint practices, but he will be playing the ones. The Browns are playing their starters. Get a few reps tomorrow, but after that, I think the joint practices cover the valuable reps.
Yeah, to me, I think this is always such a tough call. I think as your quarterback gets more and more into their career and they're making more and more money, I get more skeptical of playing in the preseason. But I think this is a correlation, and I talked about this with Wilde this morning on our show. The fact that the defense has kind of been eating the offense's lunch a little bit. I wonder how much of this is we need some positive things. We need for this offense to start doing some things and being a little more productive because there's no doubt Matt LaFleur, I think, values playing. I think he wanted to do more of that when Aaron Rodgers was quarterback. And the bottom line on this is, yes, you can do this in controlled practices, and I agree with you. And I can't sit here and say that it's vital for him to be out there in Cleveland or in Denver, but you have to get work in. And if it's through a controlled environment like a joint practice, which is what Green Bay's got coming the next couple of weeks. Maybe this will be his only time. But Matt LaFleur wants guys playing, and as long as you can come out of here, healthy, you're going to always want guys to play because that's the only way. And I think LaFleur saw that early in his tenure as the head coach, that he didn't play, and they came out and got whooped in openers. And then last year, they played some in the preseason, and was it a coincidence that they went down to Chicago and played good football? I don't think he views it that way. I think he sees the value in it, and it's just that risk-reward proposition, how much of it is in play, because having these guys healthy but when they go down to Brazil is the top concern, I think, getting through this preseason.
Yeah, I think that's well said, right? Get out of here healthy, and you're feeling good going to Brazil week 1. I know you've talked about this before, Tauschi, but it's always interesting to hear a former player's perspective, and I talked about this a little bit last night with Brian Bulaga on the Homer Hour. The explosion of joint practices. When you played, these weren't a big thing, but it seems like every year teams are scheduling 2 or 3 of these now here in 2024. Are you surprised by the explosion of joint practices, and do you think that it's as beneficial as some head coaches are thinking it is now?
Well, I think it's a couple of things. You obviously have stripped one of the preseason games, and you mentioned it earlier. It's the control, especially at quarterback. You can keep the red jersey on. Guys aren't going to hit. But you also see a lot of fights. I think it was Detroit and New York maybe that just got fined a couple $100,000. It's always the big thing for me if you're going to do those joint practices, and it is about just getting reps and game reps against other people so that you can evaluate your roster, but mainly that bottom part of your roster. That's, I think, the value in it. But I think not having that fourth preseason game and really trying to get some good evaluation tape on guys that you're a little bit questioning. As far as all of the other stuff goes, I think you maybe get one good day out of it. After that, I think it turns into hopefully nobody throws down and has a big brawl and makes a big scene like what we just saw.
Right.
It's players don't love it, especially veteran players. I think that it's you want to get through training camp, you play in the game, and move on with your life. When you add that, now you're adding another layer, and you do wonder, are they doing that to replace the preseason games because these guys aren't playing in games and they still want to get somewhat simulated game action, and this is the best thing that they can do?
When it comes to depth on this Packers team, Tauschi, is there a position group that you look at as we enter tomorrow's first preseason game and you go, yeah, I'm still concerned about the depth there. I know some people are concerned about the tackle depth. Some are concerned about the linebacker depth despite the 2 draft picks. Safeties are still a question with all the rookies in there. Is there a position group where depth concerns you?
Yeah, I mean, I think the kicker is the most concerning because I don't think you feel great about the top. But, yeah, I mean, Jason and I got into a little bit with the swing tackle today and, where that depth's at. I think that's just the concern every team in the league has. And the fact that you've had, Zach Tom has missed time, he's not going to play tomorrow. That, I guess, that if he's healthy and you keep Rasheed Walker healthy, I think you look at this depth of where Green Bay is at. You have some young players that you feel good about. Would you want them to play in the beginning part of this season with Jordan? I doubt it. But I think that's a position that I think you're always looking for more and more depth. And then who's going to emerge, when it becomes the tailback spot? A.J. Dillon's getting a lot of rave reviews. Is he the guy going to be, behind Josh Jacobs? These other young players, I'm always looking in the preseason. Is there somebody that is going to force the coach's hand to give them more reps? And I don't know the safety spot. Obviously X is going to be the one guy. And then you have 2 or 3 guys everybody is raving about. Are they going to emerge, make a big play, and the coach is going to say, we just can't take this guy off the field? Those are always the things that I'm looking at when it becomes, what the preseason's about and what are those big decisions that are going to get made.
Tausch, you're very, very good on-air host. So I'm workshopping something, and I need your professional advice on this. So the adage is, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. What should we say about when you have 3 kickers?
Yeah.
I'm struggling with the punchline.
What are you workshopping? If you have 3 kickers, you have 0. I think that is obviously, it's just really rare for a team, especially at this point in training camp, to be carrying 3, because that means you just don't feel great about one. So I don't know if that's the adage. I've never seen this where you're this far into camp. It's always 2, and you kind of have an incumbent that maybe had a little bit of a down year, and then somebody's pushing hard to either let this kid elevate and take the job or this guy takes it. And I don't know if that's the case, because I don't think with 90 roster spots and you have some injuries at other positions, and now you're taking reps away because you want to evaluate. You want to put these guys in positions where there's pressure on the line and see how they react. When you add a third leg, you're not really accomplishing that. That just tells me I don't feel great about where we're at this spot, and that's why that concern level was high coming into camp. And I don't think anybody feels that much better about where we're sitting 2 weeks in.
Yeah. I refer to Joshy DiMaggio on the show as the groundhog. When I say something stupid or something catches his ear, he pops his head up in the control room here at the Gruber Law Offices One Call That's All studio. Joshy popped his head up and is calling for the ball, Tauschi, so I turn it over to Joshy.
I have a saying for the kickers.
Okay, go ahead.
If you
Here
have 3 kickers, you might be in a pickle.
Okay. Tauschi, I think I like it.
I love pickleball, and obviously anytime Joshy chimes in, I'm always intrigued because Lord knows where he's coming from, but he always has an angle of where he's coming from. And I do think the Packers' kicking spot is very pickled right now. It's pickled. You can either be at a saloon or it's pickled. You just don't know where we're at. So I'm okay with that. Anything that tells you that there's no clarity with that position group and what is going on, that's what the Packers are not telling you. They're showing you by what they're doing with their roster moves. And hopefully someone emerges, because it doesn't matter where we're at. You know that in this league, you're going to have 3 or 4 games that are going to come down to them making a kick or you making a kick. And if you don't feel good about that, that's the difference between being a 1-2 seed and being a 5, 6, 7 seed.
If you have 3 kickers, you're in a pickle. Okay, I feel like we can work on that. That's not half bad. A couple more things for Tauschi here on Mr. Irrelevant. Tauschi, who are you most intrigued to see at the wide receiver position this preseason, right? I've heard from training camp, I've only been up to one practice, that Romeo Doubs looks really consistent and Dontavian Wicks looks really crisp. Is there one of those guys that you're really looking to take a next step ahead of the season opener on September 6th?
Yeah, I think it's such a fun position group, and we've had a lot of fun talking about it throughout the off season. And now you're seeing, I know last week, I think it was Joshy that was all up in arms talking about trading Dontavian Wicks.
Oh yeah, that
was one of the
that was on Monday's show.
Yeah, that's one of the most ludicrous and insane things I've ever heard the big groundhog get into. But that position group as a whole, I am intrigued by Christian Watson, and he is a difference maker. I know there's a lot of questions about can he stay healthy. We heard Matt LaFleur discuss it this week that if he can stay healthy, the offense can't really be full potential without him because of the dynamic that he brings to this group. So that is the guy he's shown when he's healthy. 2 years ago, being in the same category as Randy Moss as a rookie with scoring touchdowns, that jumped off his speed and how he outruns angles. Him being healthy and what that means to this offense is, I think, really critical. And I just hope that he's able to, stay healthy enough to showcase that, because I think if this offense is going to take that next big step, I think he's going to be a critical component to doing that.
Last question for you on the Packers, Tauschi. And I heard you said something about this like 10 minutes ago. The defense has been eating the offense's lunch in training camp. Does that make you more excited for the Jeff Hafley defense or nervous about the Matt LaFleur offense?
Yeah, it's excited about Hafley's defense. I just think this offense has enough talent, and I trust in Jordan Love. I think with Josh Jacobs and everything else, offense is always, you're trying to figure some things out. But this is a new coordinator, and everything you're hearing from Rashawn Gary, from X, it doesn't matter who you're talking to or listening to, the excitement level about what this group can do, that excites me. And the fact that they're doing it in his first year against this offense on a pretty consistent basis during training camp. Now we have to see it against other groups, because if that's not the case, let's say Cleveland goes out and puts up a ton of points and it's a little messy, then you have to start wondering, well, man, if Cleveland's doing that and our offense isn't, then maybe I'd start getting a little uneasy about where we're at. But I just think this is the storyline all preseason. Is Jeff Hafley going to make a big difference with this group? And so far, just listening, he has, and this group has. And if this defense is that good, think about what we saw last year with Joe Barry's group, and they finished the season up doing okay on defense. I think just creating turnovers and what they've done. I think Tomasky joined us this morning, 17 interceptions during training camp already. Last year, they were second to last in the league. That's what we're excited about. And if that is going to come to fruition, you have to think great things are going to come in this 2024 season.
You get what you emphasize, and all Hafley has talked about is creating turnovers, and clearly it's working so far through the first few weeks of training camp. All right, one quick Badgers question for you, Tausch, before I let you go. There's this video that's been circulating the internet from Badgers camp out in Platteville, and it's a video of an offensive lineman taking like 3 steps to his left, and a cloud of dust comes out of the back of his pants. I assume Gold Bond or baby powder. How much like Gold Bond does a football team run through in a season? Is it like a very big thing? And the video playing right now on the YouTube stream. I assume you've seen this video, Tausch.
I have. Yeah, I've seen that. And listen, man, I think when you start talking about training camp and double days, and again, today's player isn't doing 2 and 3 a days where it's constant, but you're sweating and you just want to keep stuff dry. Whether it's your feet or your undercarriage or whatnot, because chafing and blistering and all of that stuff that happens is miserable. So if you can be proactive and do as much stuff as you can, do it. And I think that's what that video is trying to show you.
It's beautifully said.
To my understanding,
here we go.
Most of the Gold Bond happens in the offensive line room and in the defensive line room. The thinner guys aren't really needing the Gold Bond. As a guy who needed Gold Bond,
I'm 6'3", like 170. I've never struggled with chafing, so I guess I can't relate.
Yeah.
Or you just haven't worked hard enough. It could be both.
Yeah, that's true.
Wow, good point. Wow.
Well,
white collar Stroufy.
There you go.
White collar Stroufy. Yeah, no doubt. Tausch, appreciate the time as always, brother.
All right, sounds good. See you guys.
Sounds good indeed. That's Mark Tauscher, Packers Hall of Famer, co-host Wilde and Tausch, weekdays 9 to noon on ESPN Wisconsin. I didn't really know what to ask him about the Gold Bond, Joshy. I just wanted to get a public statement from a legendary offensive lineman on that. That video is insane. Hunter, pull that back up for us on the YouTube stream. That video of the offensive, I mean, that is a huge cloud of dust coming from that man's behind.
That amount feels like somebody might have had it open up, or like the top break off of it or something. Because I certainly didn't play high level football at any, but we did 2-a-days in high school. Okay. And the Gold Bond bottles circulated by the offensive lineman quite a bit.
Were you an O-lineman?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Guard, tackle, center?
I played center and guard.
Oh, wow. Interior guy.
Yeah.
Joshy.
Well, and then the quarterback is going to appreciate more Gold Bond if you're the center.
Yes. Because it also has a scent, too. So rather than smelling swass, you just get the scent of Gold Bond. I think every quarterback will take that every single time. But, yeah, I mean, it's the middle of summer. You're grinding. Where are they in Lacrosse?
Platteville.
Oh. Yeah. You're not at home. You're not getting all the things you're used to. If you OD on Gold Bond, that's just what happens sometimes.
There you go.
And you'd rather OD on Gold Bond because, like Tausch said, like having issues on the undercarriage is not enjoyable. Like I'd rather have blisters on my feet than issues on the undercarriage.
Couldn't agree more, Hunter.
All right, I'm ready to move on.
How's your undercarriage doing?
Mine's doing great. Thanks for asking.
The Brewers hit the ball 56 times in a sweep over the Braves this week, guys. We talked on Monday. I was a little worried about how things were going. 56 hits in 3 games for the Brewers, including, 16 runs last night in the sweep? Yeah, good stuff. Sal Frelick, 4-hit day. Pretty good for him. my guy Salvatore. Brewers looking up. My worries are gone after. Look, this isn't the Braves of last year, but they're still a solid team, and we'll take a solid win. That's my thought on that. I just wanted to talk about anything else than what we were just talking about with Gold Bond and undercarriages. So there's my thoughts on the Brewers before a weekend series at home against the Cincinnati Reds. One other video from UW football camp out in Platteville circulating the internet this week, and that would be this. This is Derek Jensen, who is an offensive lineman, a recruit out of Arrowhead. I interviewed him once. We had him on Zimbrick Honda's Prep Mania out in Madison when I was still in Madison a couple of months back. And when I interviewed him, it was in May, so school was about to get let out. He was on a senior skip day field trip to Six Flags Great America. He hopped off a roller coaster to do his interview with me, so I knew this kid was interesting to begin with. Here's Derek Jensen. I've not seen this video yet. Hunter said it's great. We got to watch it. We will all watch it together. Derek Jensen at Badgers camp out in Platteville. He's singing John Legend?
Yeah.
Wow. He's actually not bad.
Good for the high note.
Does he hit it? Well, Luke Fickle looking on, smiling. So, did I just do I'm so confused by this. Ooh! All right, so I've got several questions. He nailed that. Well done by Derek Jensen from Arrowhead High School. Very well done. So, because I remember videos of this last year. Do they just do like a karaoke freshman session every year at Badgers camp?
To me, I think this is just a new form of hazing, where you have to get up and do a talent show, much like we see on Hard Knocks all the time.
Yeah.
That's what I think this is. So the young guys have to get up in front of everyone.
Oh,
and,
okay.
You know, if you can juggle.
So this is good hazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a couple other videos that they had circulating with some of the other guys on the team. Like, this has been kind of become their thing, where the freshmen come in, they've got to do karaoke and they have to sing a song. So I am a huge fan of it. I want to see a full compilation of this. They need to release a Spotify playlist of all of these guys doing these songs. It'll be terrible.
I
don't know that I'd listen to it.
I think they need to actually plug into an audio system here. I want the straight from the system audio, not just the recorded on your phone audio. Because he got drowned out there and he killed it. Those opening notes, you're like, hold on, wait a second.
The guy could sing. Lineman can sing. Love to see it. Love to see it. All right, before we get to what we learned, let's do it. I don't care if it's a preseason game. I want predictions. I want group predictions. Final score predictions, preseason game one. I don't care if it's a preseason game. The Packers going to win or lose. Hunter, we'll start with you. Give me a score. Give me a winner.
Oh, jeez. 17. We'll go 24-17. The Browns are going to win.
There we go. Okay. I'm fine with that. If it was regular season, I would eviscerate you. Go ahead, Josh.
My number was 24-16.
What, you already made a prediction?
No, in my head that I was saying there, and we're pretty close to. I think they're going to find a lot of opportunities to kick the old ball.
Oh, it's going to be what's 3 times 10? 30? All field goals?
Yeah, they're gonna find a lot of excuses for things to peter out right on the plus side of the field.
Oh, they're going to kick a field goal on 3rd down. I'm confident in that prediction.
This is going to be the most conservative game you've ever seen. Like, that's what this will be.
I'm legitimately not joking. I think there will be a point where they kick a field goal on 3rd down because I think that's the battle they're most concerned about.
to me more interesting, and I mean, Hunter, I think you know the roster pretty well. Who's going to be the MVP, the guy on offense that everyone talks about? Because there's always a guy.
It's going to be. Wait, you want Hunter's prediction or mine?
Everyone's.
AJ Dillon's my answer.
Oh wow.
Geez, I was gonna say like I have a weird feeling Sean Clifford is actually gonna light it up. Like, dude's gonna throw he might throw like 3 touchdowns, and all of a sudden everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, maybe he should be the guy." Especially if Jordan Love like struggles in the first half against the Eagles. Like,
hold on,
it could be
before
like
we
it's
get
gonna
to
be stupid. It's going to be the dumbest thing in the world, but something like that is going to happen where like Sean Clifford's going to look really good, and then the second Jordan Love struggles, you'll see it on Twitter. Just a couple of idiots
last year
that hit the algorithm and are like, "Oh, it should be Sean Clifford again." Like, it's going to be stupid. And I know somehow this will get clipped and be on Twitter, and people are going to light me up because they're not going to take the full context of what I say. But Sean Clifford,
relax.
No, you just know that Twitter is stupid like that. That's all I'm saying.
Relax.
I'm only worked up because you're telling me to relax. Right now. I'm only annoyed because you're telling me to relax.
You were worked up before I said relax. Josh was there. You called out people on Twitter before I said the word relax.
You called out phantoms.
I just said that's how Twitter works. Nothing I said was me being worked up.
Hold on. Deep breath.
I hate both of you.
I was gonna say. Joshy's only asking. Tauscher just said it. Whenever Joshy has something to say, he's got an angle. Joshy's only asking this question because he's got somebody in mind.
I really didn't. I was struggling to come up with someone. I think Clifford's I don't think he's any good, but that guy likes to huck it. He just likes to unleash it.
Yeah.
I think Grant DuBose is interesting. The Packers kept him around for some reason, despite him not really being able to give the Packers anything in terms of last season. So the fact that I've seen his name pop up a few times from the training camp reports about like, hey, I think they've got us something here. I'd be interested to see if they like actually let him go show out in this one if he sees a lot of snaps.
That's fair. Yeah, him and Pratt is an interesting battle. I'm excited to watch those guys sling it a little bit because both of them have big arms. I think they could have some fun moments this preseason. All right, you learn something new every day. I didn't give my prediction, did I? 30 to and it's all on field goals. 30 to 21 Packers. All field goals. Hale is going to have 3. Anders will have 4. What does that make me have left? 4 plus 3 is 7, so 3 more. And Greg Joseph will have 3. 1 miss, though. They're going to be 10 for 11 on field goals. I don't know, man. It's a preseason game. You learn something new every day. We learned something new today. Hunter, what'd you learn?
I'll point everyone's attention to the video stream as this is Illinois' alternate uniforms that they will be wearing against
I was thinking
Michigan.
That was Stevens Point. They look like purple and gold. I thought you were showing me Stevens Point.
No, this is the 100th anniversary of Red Grange scoring 6 touchdowns in a game against Michigan. It was one of the biggest upsets in college football. So they recreated the leather helmet, and they have the old striped uniforms. Yeah.
So I was going to say, for anybody listening on the audio side, it's like a leather helmet printed on a regular helmet, blue face mask, and then the top of the jersey is navy blue, but then there's like orange stripes working its way down to the pants. Those are disgusting. I don't like them.
Oh, I absolutely love these. I want more creative, crazy things in college football.
I'm good with that. I'm with you on that.
The
right? Like I think
the
Oregon being as vibrant they are, I'm okay with Oregon's uniforms. But
Oregon's too boring. I want craziness. I want fake leather-looking helmet because they just do a bunch of different combinations of green and yellow. Like compared to
those
this,
are their school colors.
Yeah,
that's a combination of orange and blue.
Yes, they recreated a leather helmet on their helmet. Like Maryland,
it looks awful.
Maryland airbrushed the flag to make it look like it was waving on their helmet. That's unique. That's different.
Okay.
Oregon
Hunter,
just doing different color combinations
NCAA
is crazy.
Recently? You're a little on edge. Have you not gotten your NCAA fix?
What's going on with you today, man? You're yelling at people that haven't even yelled at you yet.
I am fine. I don't know
I don't
what
think that's accurate.
I'm having a great day. Like, I was having a great day until I
Doesn't
talked to
sound
you
like it.
two idiots.
It sounds like you're convincing yourself that you're having a great day.
No, this is a great day. It's my first day as a full-time content teammate.
Yeah.
I was having a great day
Yeah, Hunter.
until you two idiots started talking.
Happy for you. Yeah.
Hey,
you.
now that you're full time, you're going to have a lot more of these idiots in your
Yeah,
life.
Yeah, I know.
You got to do this every day now.
Where's the
man.
Tylenol?
Good stuff.
I would like to take 1 second. I've never done what I learned.
Yeah, I was going to ask. Do you have one?
Yeah, I just witnessed here the breaking for the first time at the Olympics. Team Australia.
Break dancing, right?
Yes, they call it breaking.
Okay.
I'm sticking with the colloquialisms. This is the most embarrassing event at the Olympics.
X, 100%.
It is. They're just like wiggling around on the ground. You can, if you search it on Twitter, you will find it.
Hold on. I want Hunter to respond to you. But before he responds to you, I'm going to predict what he's going to say.
They're having fun.
I think Hunter likes breaking.
What?
No, I think it's weird. I do know why
it is
they have
awkward.
it, though, because I'm a nerd.
Okay, go ahead.
It's because, like, breakdancing, like, has its origins with, like, France and Paris. So then it's like they're trying to incorporate sports that are like culturally significant. So that's why like
So,
flag
is this the
football
first
will
year
be
they've
in
had it?
LA. Yeah, and then I think they'll have it in LA as well. But that's why like baseball and softball will be back for the US along with flag football because it's like culturally a significant sport. So they're going to like I
Wow.
think they're starting to like switch off on sports being in and out based off of the
Interesting.
countries that host it. So like I think
That's cool.
Japan's
I
going to
like
get
that.
I
an
actually learned
Olympics, so they'll
something.
have baseball back. Like yeah, so there you go.
Chachi goes, I actually learned something rather than just shooting off a random opinion he had. I like that. Okay, thanks, Hunter. That's
You're
great
welcome.
insight by you. Well done. Well done. Okay, what I learned, I'm also going Olympics. Kenny Bednarik, also known as Kung Fu Kenny from Rice Lake. I covered him for 2 years at the state track and field meet at La Crosse. Now, on the screen, you'll see a tweet of mine from the 2017 WIAA state track and field meet. Kenny Bednarik of Rice Lake just crushed his own state record in the 400 meter, 46.82 seconds and a state title. Wow. from yours truly back in 2017. Kenny Bednarik just took second. He won the silver medal in the 200 meter at the Olympics. But Hunter, if you don't mind popping that picture back up, I do want to give some context to the photo. So behind Kenny by a large margin there, 400 meters is one lap around the track. But behind Kenny, in this heat, he took second place. That is my friend Wyatt Gazella, wearing the Denmark D. I went to Denmark High School, and I worked for the Denmark newspaper, the Denmark News, back in the day. So I was out there covering Wyatt, and Wyatt got smoked by a eventual silver medal award winner in Kenny Bednarik. So just wanted to resurface this photo of my buddy getting smoked. But secondly, Kenny Bednarik, I remember watching him. And Scott Vency from the Green Bay Press Gazette, who we've had on the show before, and I would always hang out at those meets. And I remember talking to Scott about this, and we go, yeah, that guy's going to be Olympic good. And here we are in 2024, Kenny Bednarik from Rice Lake. Not only Olympic good, silver medal award winner good. So shout out to Wisconsin's own Kenny Bednarik winning the silver medal at the Olympics. Pretty cool. Not often you have a Wisconsinite in the Olympics, especially the Summer Olympics. You've got Matt Hamilton in curling, and you've got Kenny Bednarik, Kung Fu Kenny, in the Summer Olympics.
Rice Lake, home of my grandparents. Lovely town.
Dynamite dropping.
Didn't
Thank
expect
you.
an Olympian to come from there.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. That was good. Manitowoc, Wisconsin, home of my grandparents.
Kenny Bednarik coming from Rice Lake, Wisconsin is unbelievable.
I mean, it is. I won't argue with that. I won't. Hunter, where are your grandparents from?
Ripon, Wisconsin.
All right. Shout out to our grandparents. Enjoy the preseason opener. Plenty of reaction coming at you Monday as we react to the preseason. Probably more than we should. But hey, man, I'm a sicko, as Hunter called me. I love preseason. Closer and closer and closer to real football. For those of you watching live, I'm with you the rest of the afternoon on ESPN Milwaukee. I'm in with Kyle Wallace and Kyle Bruston-Nortman from 2 to 5 on ESPN Milwaukee. I'm also in for Homer with Gary Ellerson on the Homer Hour from 5 to 6. So I've got 4 hours of radio left to do today. So you want more preseason analysis and opinions? I got you covered from 2 to 6 on ESPN Milwaukee if you want to hang out with us here on the ESPN Milwaukee YouTube page, as well as on the radio dial, 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee if you're in the listening area, or on the ESPN app. You can listen in. From 2 to 6 tonight, I'm with you I've had 3 shots of espresso. I'm good to go. Back with you Monday, though, on this program, beginning at 12:30, ESPN Madison, ESPN Milwaukee YouTube channels available wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Wisconsin On Demand. Just search Mr. Irrelevant will be the first result that pops up. Looking forward to preseason game number 1 tomorrow. Looking forward to reacting with you on Monday, beginning at 12:30. We'll talk to you then. Make it a great weekend. It's Mr. Irrelevant, presented by Door County Distillery. I'm Alex Strouf. Peace. Thank you, Hunter.